Hola! So today we are going to learn about indirect object pronouns. And so here is when we refer to whom or for whom something is done. So in these two sentences that we see here related to the drawing, one it says, La madre le sirve la sopa a su esposo. This is what she's doing. And so the mother serves soup to her husband. So here we're using our indirect object pronoun. And in the second one, el padre les habla a sus hijos. So the father talks to his children. Also, he's talking to them. And so, les habla a sus hijos. So here we see this indirect object pronouns in these two sentences. Let's continue. An indirect object pronoun is almost always a person. Okay, sometimes a thing, occasionally a thing. And so in this case, it's what is indirectly affected by the action of the verb. For example, here a person is Paco gave the book to me. That's the person. I'm the person, to me. And so we need to ask the question, when we learn about the direct object pronoun, we would ask, what did Paco give? And so we will find the object. In this case, it will be a book. But now we need to know who receives this book. And in this case, it's going to be to me. So to whom did Paco give the book? And it's going to be to me. So that's our indirect object. Paco me dio el libro. Okay? And so, it's very important to distinguish direct objects from indirect objects. And so in this case, we see what the object is, which is book, libro, and then who receives this book? To me, so me. We're going to learn now what these pronouns are. So far, we know that we've seen this me, te, nos, os. And so the indirect object pronoun changes from lo when we learn the direct object pronouns changes into le or les. For people, it's going to be always me, te, nos, os. And for people or sometimes things, le or les. And so these two forms, as we see here, are identical to the direct object pronouns, but it changes only in this third person that before it was lo, right? Lo, la, los, las. Now it's le for things, or les for things. And this is for people in red. See, these are some of the common verbs used with indirect object pronouns. And so here's what they mean. Contar, to tell. Contestar, to reply. Dar, to give. Decir, to say. Explicar, to explain. Hablar, to talk. Mandar, to send. Mostrar, to show. Pedir, to ask for. Preguntar, to ask. Prestar, to lend. Regalar, to give. This is like a gift. Servir, to serve. Traer, to bring. Like I said, common verbs that use indirect objects. Here are some examples. So as we can see, in all of them we need to use an indirect object pronoun because we're talking about someone that is receiving this action. And so I'll send the book to Alfredo. He is receiving the book. And so le voy a mandar el libro a Alfredo. Le. It's a man, it's singular, so we use le. Or I lend the book to Alfredo. Le voy a prestar el libro a Alfredo. Or I'll bring the book to Alfredo. Le voy a traer el libro a Alfredo. So as we see, it requires the co-occurrence of the indirect object pronoun le, in this case, because it's Alfredo, and the indirect object itself. And this is usually when it has not been established in the conversation already. And indirect object pronouns, like all object pronouns, come in front of the conjugated verb. Like we've seen before, every time that we use these pronouns, they need to be in front of a conjugated verb. In this case, this one is conjugated. So, le voy a mandar la novela a Alfredo. And in this case, we're saying, I'm going to send the novel to Alfredo. When it's attached to an infinitive, for example, mandar, to bring, right? And so we can also attach it at the very end of an infinitive. Just like we learned when we were discussing direct object pronouns. So we also follow the same rule, and in this case is Alfredo, it's le, because it's a him, it's a third person, and so mandar le. Voy a mandarle la novela a Alfredo. I'm going to send him or send la novela a Alfredo. Also attached to a gerund, ing, right? Like I'm bringing or I'm sending. So in this case, estoy mandándole. Again, we attach this pronoun to the gerund sending. So I'm sending the novel to Alfredo. I'm going to send the novel to Alfredo. I'm sending the novel to Alfredo. So as mentioned, occasionally, sometimes a thing can be expressed as an indirect object. For example, let's look at this example of a car. Dice, van a ponerle un motor nuevo al coche. So they are going to put a new engine in the car, So in this case, an engine, it's the one that, they're going to put something new to it. And in this case, my car, it's an it. So it's third person. And so because it's third person, we use the le, because that's the third person for a him, a her, or also an it. And so, and then it would be ponerle al coche. So in this case, think of the installation of the new engine as an action that is being carried out on the car. So the indirect object pronoun in Spanish can represent at least two different relationships. Using the same example we had before, Paco gave the book to me. So Paco me dio el libro a mí. Or Paco bought the book for me. Remember, we use to or for to express these pronouns in Spanish. Paco me compró el libro a mí. And so in both cases, to and for are represented by the single preposition a in Spanish. I have an example here that we're going to work together. So in this case, it says, La Cenicienta, this is Cinderella, the famous children's story. It says that La Cenicienta vive con su malvada, which is wicked, madrastra y sus dos malvadas hermanastras. We know the story that Cenicienta lives with her stepmother and two evil, according to what they say, right? Evil stepsisters. And so, but she always has to do so many things for everyone. And so we're gonna use this indirect object pronouns, or using the things that normally Cinderella will have to do in her house. Model dice, tiene que comprar pan para su papá para la cena. So Cinderella has to buy bread for her dad for dinner. And so the one indirectly receiving this action, it's the dad, because she's buying bread to him, right? Or for him. And so the dad, it's a him, it's third person, so we're gonna use le. Le compra el pan a su papá para la cena. Okay? Here we're using our pronoun. So tiene que poner la leche en el refrigerador para sus hermanas. Indirectly, the action, they are receiving this action that this milk is for them eventually, for the stepsisters. And so, Cinderella les pone la leche en el refrigerador a sus hermanastras. So, puts the milk in the fridge for her stepsisters. Next one. Tiene que decir la verdad a su madrastra. That's stepmother. So, Cinderella has to tell the truth to her stepmother. And so, the indirectly receiving this action of hearing the truth, it's the stepmother. And so, Cinderella le dice la verdad a su madrastra. So, tells the truth to her stepmother. Next one. Tiene que dar cerveza al guapo príncipe. Príncipe is prince. Guapo, we know that means handsome. And so Cinderella has to give beer to this handsome prince. And so, and in this case, it will be Cinderella. We know that guapo príncipe, it's a him, so it's third person singular, so it has to be le. So, Cinderella le da cerveza al guapo príncipe. So, we're saying gives beer to, this handsome prince. Next one. Tiene que hacer un flan a toda la familia. And so, she has to make a flan. The famous and delicious dessert, Hispanic dessert. And so, for the whole family. And so, a family as a whole, even though it's a lot of people, like I've said before, it's considered singular. So, it's an it. And so, in this case, it will be le, because it always belongs to the third person singular. So, le hace un flan a toda la familia. So, makes a flan for the whole family. And the last one, tiene que comprar un pastel de chocolate para su madrastra y sus hermanas. So, Cinderella has to buy a chocolate cake for her stepmother and stepsisters. And so, she's the one doing the action, and they are going to receive this action indirectly because the cake is for them. And so, Cinderella les compra un pastel de chocolate a su madrastra y a sus hermanas. Les. In this case, it's a bunch of people. It's 3 people. And so we have to use the third person plural indirect object pronoun, which is les. So that's the lesson for today. I hope you enjoy it, and please do the activities that are assigned in our email. And I'll see you next time. Ciao!